Hey up, hey up, hey up. It's Ben Random here. This is Loose Lips. This is the final chat of the day, and I'm going to be catching up with Ben Bowers. Ben Bowers is a specialist guitar tech for the band Rival Sons. He's just joined the group. He's going to be sending me requests, and then we'll be getting to go live with our chat as well. But not only that, nice when everyone who's coming through in group as well. Shout out Greg, shout out and Yellow. Big up, man. Big up. There's a lot of people coming through. Ben's just sent us through the request, so I'll accept that and it'll be coming through. It's course. Hey
There
up,
you go.
brother.
How's it going?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm great, man. This is interesting, isn't it?
It is, it is. Well, I was just sort of just going to be saying to everybody who's watching, and obviously when it gets shared as well, the chats that I've had today. So I had Danny DeVille, who's a director and photographer. He was talking about like how he became to be doing what he's doing. Spoke with Dan, who's the drummer of Liam Gallagher, who was like obviously taking us through his pre-career and then the whole Liam Gallagher juggernaut.
Yeah, quite. I listened in on that one. Yeah, quite a story. It's pretty cool. It's interesting to see what he's been up to because everything we do is stopped, you know. So it was
Yeah,
good
yeah,
to talk. Yeah, it was
exactly.
good to.
Because the whole industry, and we'll come to
Mm,
that, but it's literally just halt. It is on halt at the minute. So yeah,
mm.
because I wanted to know if he'd been on maybe like bit of a tour before they come to where they were at, or had they just stopped. So yeah, that yeah. So anyone who's wanting to hear a bit more about that, check that on my live, or also I'll be posting up all the chats that I do on my YouTube, and that'll be shared out. Just then spoke with Ralph Lawson, who is the head on show of 2020 recordings, 2020 Vision recordings, and well-known DJ and producer. And now we come to Danger, Ben Bowers, the main man himself.
Yeah. How are
And
you?
and to bring it full circle, because you said this is a bit strange. It is a bit strange, but I wanted to bring you into this. I wanted to
Mm.
bring you on involved with like Loose Lips and have a chat because you have some of the best stories. Like you do have some of the best stories, but also the career that you do. It's not really a career that is set out as I'm going to go out and I'm going to do that. You've really maneuvered things behind the scene, bettered your craft, and almost been touted. You know,
Yeah,
putting yourself
it's
up
been a strange one. Yeah, it's
to be
quite.
spotted. So I really want to get stuck into that. But before we sort of
Yeah,
delve
wicked.
into that, you were in America as this was all really booting off from this side, weren't you? So you were going out for South by Southwest.
That's correct. Yeah. Mm.
And then do you want to take up from like being out there to how you got back? Because we hadn't
I
actually
kind
spoke about this.
No, I know. It's like I came back from. That's why I've not caught up with anybody other than via the internet or FaceTime because I flew back from America straight into just lockdown. It was a little bit strange, but we were out there doing a thing, and that didn't happen, and we kind of had to fly home and get out of there. It was getting really stressful, and then it was really strange to land because people didn't seem to care too much, and I came home like coming in hot, and my housemates, I'm like, get inside, like it was a zombie movie. But yeah, it went from like this is kind of funky to fuck, this has really gone south, and to a point where we booked emergency flights to get ourselves home because the airline that two of us were flying home on, left us high and dry. And I think Sam did a bit of research, and looks like the airline crashed out. So we just kind of like didn't want to get stuck out there really, and run out of money because we didn't know it at the time, but I think we did know at the time. The rest of our summers have been cancelled. We were in America working and scouting at a festival with a friend Johnny and Sam, and everything just stopped really quick. So yeah, we had to kind of freak out and get home in the end.
So you've seen that side of it where you could have been trapped over there. That must have been a bit
Mm.
west.
It was a little bit because it was surreal, to be honest, because we were in Austin, where I'm not going to talk about the place like I know it really well, but two of my friends, very good friends, my buddy Sam and his buddy Johnny, they go to South by Southwest Festival every year. They're kind of parts of the furniture, and I've never been able to make it out there, so I've heard all about it. Really excited. We did a trip leading up to Austin, So we were in New Orleans just before we flew to Austin. Then nobody seemed to give a fuck. You know, the vibe was alive. Everybody was having a good time. The bars were full. And then when we landed in Austin, you know, I think for me it was surreal because it was so empty. But I think for the two I was traveling with, were totally freaked out because they're used to seeing it flooded with entertainment and people. And when we arrived, there was one bar open. The White Horse was open playing music, and then even, you know, they just crashed out. The whole place stood still. It was kind of freaky. So to go like from that to Leeds, and, you know, everyone's like, yeah, it's kind of freaky, you know, maybe it'll be okay. And I'm just like, you know, everybody inside kind of came in hot on the way home, you know, paranoid, I guess. But I mean, it turned pretty crazy pretty quick, didn't it, over here?
How have you, you know, when you've been speaking with your friends and stuff within the industry, how like, what's your view with it? Do you think it's going to have what do you think the changes are going to be from the fallout of this?
It's hard to know, really. Obviously, quite a few of us have been chatting and pondering, and first things first was like, you know, how are we going to, you know, we've all lost a lot of money. How are we going to survive? So it's kind of been going through we've all been going through stages to figure it out. But it seems like you know, the country and the government are doing the same. Everyone's just figuring this out day by day. So there's no infrastructure really. So we've kind of been trying to kind of advise anyone who's come to me, if they've not got there already, is that we don't really know how far this thing has crashed yet. So there's no point rebuilding something halfway, you know, because it might get torn down further. So I think it's just time to be smart and be wise, and then see what happens when the dust settles. But it would seem pretty bonkers to have large gatherings of people in such a densely populated kind of size, like a field or a stadium. You know, it just seems like it doesn't feel like that will be realistic. So yeah, you know, and we weirdly as well, we've had a little bit more time to get to terms with it, because the music industry was what crashed first. You know, everything just, festivals being cancelled, and we were like, okay, well, all our work had gone for summer and the rest of the year mainly. That kind of hit pretty quickly. So I think the music industry are like maybe a little bit ahead of some people, because we got it, you know, a large dose of what's going on really early in this storm. But yeah, it's been interesting. None of us really know what's coming, but everyone's supporting each other and being cool. Management and, you know, and bands. So there's all sorts of people doing good schemes to help out their crew. So it's nice to see a good like community of people trying to stick together, you know.
Well, take us into the world. Take us into the world of the crew and
Oh,
that
Jesus
community,
Christ.
because as I say, you've got tales for days, and I'm sure we're going to get stuck into some of the tales. But I'd like to get to know a bit more of the actual role itself, a bit more of the actual standard form of it. So can you tell us not necessarily what you do at this moment, but what you did and how you got to what you're doing
now? Hard work would be the first one. You know, that would be how it happened. Just kind of keeping my head down and grinding through the different scenes to find out what sticks. I think it was just like throw everything at a wall and see what sticks, you know. So I did pretty well as a tour manager for a while, and that was a direction that, you know, was strong. And I like mixing audio. I started out in the clubs. Manchester was huge for me, moving out of Leeds after I graduated university, starting to mix the bands in the clubs. And then it all kind of changed, really. Just sort of shifted gears, and things took care of themselves. And there's always an element of adventure with every job, really, especially when you're younger anyway. Someone who hasn't traveled too far and wide, when I started the career, all of a sudden I had like the keys to move in place and put myself around the world and have adventures. So I kind of toyed. It was always like, is there any money for a start? And is it going to be a cool time? You know, am I going to enjoy myself? Am I going to get something from the experience? So yeah, kind of just let it go there. And sometimes some people take you further down that rabbit hole, and then you'll come across somebody else or something else, or, you know, an opportunity, and you happen to be there at the time. It just kind of meanders through the trades that way, really. And just try and make the best decision and be cool. Cause, you know, if you're nice to be around, people, you know, hire you. And I mean, you can learn the rest, can't you? I learned most of what I do on the road, you know.
It's the evolution of the different roles. So as you say, you've been tour manager, you're now like a tech expert. You know the world, but there's so many different roles. Is it just a matter of throwing your answer, seeing what works best? And did you enjoy the tour managing side?
I did, yeah, but it just felt like the time was over. I've done everything until I've stopped enjoying it, and then when I stop enjoying it, try and switch the gears or knuckle down, find a new opportunity, and you just see if the pieces fit better another way around. I always try and do it that way, and I'm lucky to have just keep leaving jobs really, or if another opportunity comes, kind of don't get stale, don't sit around. So yeah, I don't know. It's been fun, but it's always been nice to adapt. I don't just do one thing, which is, I think that's where I've been lucky. I've been able to, mixing the bands and building the stages at festivals. I've done a lot of that, tons of that, and flying the PAs in the air, and then managing the people on the stage from a technical side, and then kind of just like I know how I know how dumb bands can be, and you can just help them out and be like, come on, just from being a musician, you can kind of like, if you look around, there's loads you can get, loads of stuff you can get into. It doesn't have to be just one thing really, but although that's kind of what I do now, just one thing.
Do you find that's one of your strongest assets, is because you've done so many different positions, is that you can relate to everybody from all their different job roles because you've technically done quite a predominant amount of them?
I think in the particular genre I was tour managing in my 20s, that definitely helps. I've done more than most of the TMs. There's no money really in the scene I was working in. So everyone was younger and everyone was just there for a good time and a good party. So kind of having to walk in that world let me have a look at development really, like what can I do? Where can I move? And then the key point I would say is just look around. All the answers are kind of there, just have a good look around and try and learn a trick or two off, everybody, and try and take that into the next job you do and just work hard,
So then
that kind of shit, yeah.
But then how do you become a guitar specialist? Because I know the backstory to this, but obviously for anyone listening, I'd like you to develop a bit more. But what you're currently doing, is it like, it's so unique, it's a brand new, complete system that you've had to go and...
It's hard to kind of put it in that box because it's a bunch of systems that already exist, but they're all collaborated together in a wild beast that it's not that easy to tame. There's just quite a lot going on with the technical side of the current artist I work for.
But how do you make that step then? Because at the if that's how do you make that step?
Didn't really have a choice, man. I mean, Scott, the artist I work for, the guitarist I work for specifically, his name's Scott, and Scott Holiday, and he's a good guy, really cool, and he kind of just had this idea of a thing he wanted to build, and he knows I get excited about, things to learn about, and, he looks like a bit of or acts like a badass, but he's a total nerd, really, so, yeah, he just sort of threw some pretty crazy ideas around about a new guitar rig that kind of takes me pulling all my hair out to operate with him. So it's kind of specialist in a way that, like, I know how to do that job, but someone can always come along and take your job. You should always be wary of that.
So then talk to us about some of the bands that you've worked alongside and how you ended up being with Rival Sons, because I know that you even posted it on your Spotify, wasn't it, that they were your biggest listened to band? So
yeah, that's correct. Yeah, you've been watching my
research.
You've been watching my account, haven't you? Nice one. Yeah, that was kind of fun, really. I kind of enjoyed that Spotify day when everybody showed you, who was in the lead to listen to their favorite band, and it was it was ironic to see Sons in there. I do listen to them a lot for two reasons. One is it's healthy to learn the songs of your artist. I always try and do that with whoever I work for in case there's an issue, or just to know the player. Learn his songs, learn how he plays, and then you'll kind of see more of what's really going on up there. So I think a lot of it is mainly me just noodling around, learning songs and being like, mainly because he has like so many guitar tunings. We use like 8 different tunings per gig every night of the week. So I bet a few of them are me cheeky having a listen and just double check that, if I've restrung something, it's not in the, in the wrong key, which I have done before, and it was really bad. It's not for him, but for another artist, I've done that, and it's not fun.
But how did you end up becoming with them?
I was out on another tour. I was working with a band called Monster Truck from Canada. Really good friends of mine. Great dudes. We were on tour with Deep Purple somewhere throughout Europe. I think it may be Germany or something. And there's a great guy who works for Perps My friend Mike Airy, he's a good dude, and there was an opportunity that he put me before, and just naturally ended up taking that role on, really, and it just kind of went from there. It's important to get along with, who you're going to spend time in a tin on the road with for like 6 or 7 weeks at a time. Because when we tour, we go, so it's like we're always together. So I think it's important to come in straight away and not overkill anything, but you gotta be nice. You're not gonna get very far if you don't have a good attitude, And that's a skill in its own way, making sure you can adapt and you handle your shit around different scenarios and maybe
personalities.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, my friend Sam referred to me as a chameleon once. I was a bit struck by it to start with, but then thought about it. I think my ego, in some sort of backhanded way, was like, no, something about knowing who I am maybe was there. But he was quite right. I mean, I've toured with tons and tons of artists for like the last 8 years, young, old, male, female, people on all sorts of kind of drugs, all sorts of kind of poisons that you want to be on. And then they're not, the people who are stone cold sober, and there's just so many dynamics out there, and you're walking into someone else's world. That first time you work for a band.
What can that be like? Because obviously it must be quite close guarded.
Well, it's a bit of a freak show, really. That's like the $1 million question. Like, you never know what you're going to get. Because most technicians are musicians, and we're all a bit edgy as musicians. We can all throw curves left and right. So it's almost like a social experiment, really. You just chuck a bunch of people in there, and obviously they know each other. They've known each other for years. Some bands I've worked with, like Monster Truck, they were like old school buddies. There were deep rooted friendships and connections between the artists. So on stage, you could see them all working this out. To be the person on the outside just trying to guess what's going on it just takes time, really. And some people are easy to get along with, and some can be difficult. But I like to bring a presence of like, I don't really care too much about who you are, as long as we're here to do the right thing. Or then I just move on. If it's if I'm working for someone that is kind of buzzing me out and give me a bad vibe, I'll usually move on to someone else. And that's pretty much how I end up at Rival Sons, to be honest.
What's it been like seeing them on the rise that they're on? Because you've seen them, be featured higher up on lineups. You were on the James Corden show, which I just thought was bonkers.
Yeah, there was an Aston Villa sticker on the middle of the dance floor at the James Corden. I thought you'd like that. Yeah, I stole one of his cards, actually. It was on a shelf that said, one of his cue cards.
Yeah.
I've got it over here. I nicked it.
Ray, look at this. Go on, Powers lad.
Let me ask you a question. I've got a few here. I think this was when he was interviewing Christina Applegate.
Okay, yeah, I've got time for her, me. She's one of the Corning Stone.
Yeah, it's quite strange. I don't think I've ever really read these, but yeah. Reggie's question, he was great. Reggie Watts was hosting the jam band there. You must know Reggie.
Yeah.
Just powerhouse, yeah. So I was really excited to be there and see him leading the charge. That was pretty cool. That was probably my highlight of the day.
That's insane. But what's it like being with a band as the rise as they are?
I think it's, well, if you look around, you'll know that you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing. It's nice to know you can work for bands and you can see when they're kind of tailing off, or they missed a shot, or a record didn't land, or a whole, an album can not do so good, worldwide or territorial. No, you can see when bands are going up and down, and if your hotel room disappears, that they're making cutbacks. But all of a sudden, if hotel rooms are nicer and stuff like that, you can kind of see the projection of a band. But mixed with that, you can just feel that in an audience on a tour, and it definitely makes you feel good. That's why I like working for Rival Sons so much. It's been a chase of mine for a long time to work for, not like the band that are happening right now, but the band that want to happen. I want to help that band. And I've just landed, really well throughout my journey. It's just crossed paths with such an incredible band. It's given me a damn good opportunity to do something good. So it feels nice. You're all unified in there. If you have that attitude, which I'm quite connected to my work. Some people are not. It's just a job, but I'm quite connected to what I do. So it definitely feels great when the going's good. You feel like you're part of something real and special, and you can eradicate any sort of notions of self-doubt, which as a musician I understand what that feels like. So it's great to all be in that space where you know something is really happening that's just bigger than you. You know, there's people out there that want this, and you believe in it as well. You feel kind of like you're you feel bigger than you are. You know, you can be connected to more people, which is cool. So I like that. Yeah, it's not that fun working for a band when they're on the down though. That's it's not that great.
And what are the band like?
Lovely. It's like a big old family. Yeah, they're really good to me. Good people. They're all fathers, so everyone's caring. So yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's really good. We've been on a good journey from seeing. You know, I've been with the band. Oh God knows, I don't know, 3 years. I joined them just after they did that Sabbath tour. They were on tour with Sabbath, and then they asked me to join. And I was like, "Fuck, it would have been nice to be." But but you know, we've done some incredible stuff since. But yeah, so it's probably about 3 years. So to watch the growth, they've released an album since then. So when I kind of joined, we were doing festivals, having a good time, partying. We were just slick. And then when we came back, you know, we released a really big record with a whole new approach. So everyone was just kind of figuring that out. So to go through the journey of figuring it out and, you know, building custom rigs to make the success of the tour possible, all that kind of energy that goes into preparing it and flying it around and emailing, because they're all the way in LA and I'm all the way over here. I'm like the only English guy on the road with them. So it's just a bit bonkers, really. It's just a bit mental.
And what is traveling life like? You know, you're going through Europe. When you were in Russia a couple months back, and
I think Russia was the last touring work I did. Yeah, we did. We finished in Russia last year, and we've done 238 days on the road, plus some travel days. So we were just not at home last year. We put this record out, and it just exploded. So to be on that ride, see all the success, engage it, like you were saying, was cool. But then, you know, Moscow, we fly home to Amsterdam. Flew to Amsterdam to Manchester, and my old dear picked me up, and so yeah, it's just all sort of crashed down to earth. And then we were expecting some time off, and we had that, and now we've had unexpectedly a lot more.
And then coming back to it, then, you know, you're a musician, you're in your own band as well. How do you find the balance between obviously that life and then Blind Haze? And do you want to get into a bit of Blind Haze as well?
We could do, yeah. We could get into that. Although recently we're on a bit of hiatus at the minute. Yeah. We and probably a good time for it. Really, there's not much going on. Yeah, no gigs right now. It can be frustrating. Juggling the two is kind of hard. My friend Johnny Newell is he's a drummer in Leeds who's just spectacular, little Johnny. So it helps that he can cover any big shows that I can't do. That's been useful before. But I do remember like flying back from LA. I think I missed the band were playing a Grammy nomination show or some kind of. They were playing for Black Sabbath was the and they added this date on the tour, and I was supposed to be in LA, and I was like, I can't play that show. I'm doing a record launch. I'm flying home after this tour to do it. So that was quite stressful. I kind of came off a flight from LA straight into my own record launch. So yeah, it can be pretty hard to, like, you know, dish the two up. But mainly loads of emailing and talking on the phone to those guys was kind of important. And having the support of the likes of, you know, my boss was kind of like cool to say, yeah, you go home and release your record, man. Like, you've had it in the pipeline, and I'll just do this show with Black Sabbath and figure it out. You know, like, it's quite a nice position to be in with a boss who will support your music that much, which is cool. And they're all like that in the band. You know, they're interested. We want to know about each other's projects and what we're doing. Everyone's just really musically charged in that team.
Didn't you get a special present from one of them as well, which shows that?
A special present?
Look at me, I'm on this, mate, with my research here at Loose Lips, Ben Random, with all the exclusives. What do you hit, mate?
I mean, I'm impressed. I expect.
No, but what do you hit?
What do I hit? Oh yeah, I mean, Michael, you did do some research, didn't you? Nice one. Yeah, I mean, Michael Miley, he's one of my favorite drummers, has been forever, works in the band Rival Sons, and just has this unbelievable drum tone that's just brilliant. He's got the sound, he's got the playing style I love, and I love getting to hang with that dude all the time. You know, above the job of being a guitar technician, you know, me and Miley talk drums all day and ideas, and we play together. It's just tons of fun. And yeah, I spotted he had a very nice drum kit lying around in Germany that I thought would be better off in my studio. So he was kind enough to permanently loan me a really kind of one-of-a-kind drum kit that I'm really in love with right now. It's good. So yeah, that's a good perk of the job, eh?
I love that. I've got a few more for you, brother, but I'm going to give some shout outs to people who are listening. So we've got, let's go way back to the top. Dave Grant says, yo.
Hey,
Anielo's waved and Greg said, zay up.
Now then.
We've also got Veracity, who says hello. Or Vera Catty.
That's the one, yeah. That chick loves cats. She really loves cats.
That's why we're late on air to feed my cat.
Did you?
Yeah.
Bit of Steve Kiley just popped up. Hello, Steve, my Canadian friend.
Stacey Lloyd, shout out. She says, "Hey, Bowers."
Hello, Stacey. All right.
Barry Bowers, I believe, is that your pops?
That's my old man.
Yeah, when you were bigging up
Big
your
man.
mum, picking you up from airport, he says your old dear is listening carefully. So shout out to the Bowers.
There you go.
Shout out to the clan. And yes, Steve Kiley said hi, Ben. Which I'm
there we go.
To
Hey,
Steve. Because we share the best name ever.
Yeah. Steve Kiley's band are ridiculous. They've all got everyone in his band has a spectacular name.
Did I read that one? Did I read Anthony? No. Did I read that one out? Anthony Bersaglia. He says,
oh yeah, what's up, man?
He says, if it wasn't for Rival Sons, I'd never have met Ben Bowers, best guitar tech out there for one of the greatest bands.
Nice one, Anthony. He's too kind.
So, I mean, I'm really interested in the side of it that you've said, the tour side of it. But now I want to get stuck into some amazing stories. So I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I'm going to say what I believe the best story is. I'm going to tee it up, and then you're going to finish it. And then if you've got any others to sort of style it out, then let us know. But let's say Rolling Stones.
Go for it.
You know it's coming.
Yeah, it's quite a good one, that one. I like that one. Any story that starts with the Rolling Stones, you'd expect it to be half decent, or you would hope anyway. So hopefully I don't disappoint. You want the Ben Bowers version?
I want the Ben Bowers version, of course. He's winning his whistle. That's how good it is.
It was wicked. It was. You know what I'm like when I get into the rabbit hole. I start, reliving that shit. I get in the zone. Yeah, that was good fun. Got to do some shows, the Rolling Stones, thanks to working for Rival Sons. Just crazy opportunities like that have become normal. Anyway, with the bigger gigs, it kind of gets a bit hectic. There can be more rules. There's a lot more going on. Safety's a big thing, and there's the other Rolling Stones walking around, man. You can't just have spaced out little locals running around and offering them all sorts of bits and bobs. So managing the Rolling Stones around this entire stadium is an impressive operation, as you would expect. So we kind of I think me and Sam were out in Spain, and the tour manager rings me. I didn't know I'd really had a gig with Rival Sons and too officially, and he goes, "Yo, I need you to fly out." I'm like, "Oh fuck, I'm in Spain. So where do you want me to fly?" And then God knows where we flew to, but he was like, "We're going out with the Rolling Stones." I was like, "Jesus Christ!" So, so I fly out to I fly from Spain. Sam drops me off in this great surf trip we're doing. Drops me off in a van. Say goodbye to him. I fly on, and none of our equipment's been touched in a while, so I'm itching to get on stage. Start setting up all this stuff. I used to look after 2 guitarists at the time, so super stressful. As I'm doing my thing, the boss man goes, "Out the way. The Rolling Stones are going to be here, for the next couple hours sound checking. You can't be here." And I'm like, fuck. Kind of stressed out and being like, guys spoken. Anyway, long story short, I had to work upstairs. I'm stretching in strings. I'm restringing maybe 2 or 3 guitars in the short period, maybe another one. And I'm waiting at the line where he stood. The Stones are there, and I'm this way. I'm stood at the line, itching to get up there because my work's cut out for me. And so the guy's like, "The Stones are coming through now. Everyone keep to the side." And I'm just sat noodling this guitar, you know, stretching those strings in. I'm trying to work and use my time as much. And it goes eerily quiet, you know. Jagger comes out first, and it's just eerie quiet. Like, no one's saying anything. I'm just like, the vibe was just empty, you know. It was strange. So I'm playing a guitar, and it's Keith comes through next, and he's freaked out, you know. He's an old dude. There's just tons of people in a big long corridor, and no one's saying anything. So he's looking around, really confused, and trying to keep his cool persona, but a bit dried out. And then obviously he sees a guitar player, he sees me, and I'm noodling, and he's just like points over, and I'm like, "What's up, Keith?" And then Ronnie comes through and does the same thing, and he sees a guitar, and I'm just like, "What's up, Ronnie? Nice one, man." And some dude in front's just like, "Man, who are you?" Like, you know the Stones. And I was like, "Nah, man," but I said, hands down, the coolest thing I've ever said. I had to ring my dad about it afterwards. I didn't know, but I was like, "Nah, it's not that, man." I was like, "We're all just guitar players, you know. We're all just guitar players." And it was ice cold. There was just more silence after I said that, just ice cold. And I was a bit like, I better style that one out as I rushed to the stage to panically, you know, restring another 2 or 3 guitars. But in the moment, it was like the flyest thing I've ever done.
Such a sick line, that. That is a sick
I know,
line.
right? I know, yeah. It's dynamite, yeah.
I've got another 2 here. Greg's put Deep Purple, Johnny Depp, Slash. I don't know if they're all together or they're all individual tales. If you want to pick any or a couple or all, the floor's yours, Mr. Bowers. And also, do you think you'd ever like do a book or a memoirs? You ever like writing all of this stuff down?
God no, it's for the pub. It's just pub talk. That's all it is.
What's your favourite pub? The World's End or so? What's it called?
The Grove Inn. The mighty Grove Inn. It's the greatest pub in the world. It's just stories down at the Grove, because there's tons of old rockers in there, and Nuffler used to drink in there, and there's a big history. Everyone's been through there, and the old boys absolutely love their history. It's their stamp on Leeds, and my buddy Dave runs the shop there, you know, Dave Nelson. So it's kind of good to have a story now and again in there, and you know, in ammo, because these guys are all talking about, you know, paying like half a pint to go and watch Black Sabbath in the 70s. I'm like, oh, like, it cost me loads of money to do that. Like, you know, it's kind of good to meet these old school cats with something of you know, common interest, the world of rock and roll.
So have you any other tales you wanna share, or is it literally when we're out of this, everyone bells Bowers and we just catch up for a bev, and you're gonna stand on like some beer table in beer garden?
Oh, don't say beer garden. I rode past a few today. I rode my bike today and went to Otley and sat outside an empty pub on my own just to feel the energy. Yeah, I can't wait till they open again. How about that?
I tell you what would be a nice sort of little transition is how much climbing means to you. Do you want to get stuck into that? Do you want to have a chat? Because I know like you really opened up, and obviously you don't need to as much as if you don't want to earn that side of it, but it's something that is real special to you, isn't it?
I love climbing. It's like the most fun thing I've ever done. Yeah, it's great, and just taking all my attention. So it's a bit frustrating that we can't do that right now. But there's plenty of other things to do. You know, there's plenty to do right now. I think people are kind of getting too bummed out about we can't do anything. I think there's just tons of things that we can do that we don't usually have time for right now. So it's a little frustrating that I can't climb, but I've been riding my bike and working out and looking after myself. But yeah, the rocks will still be there when this is over. The rocks have been there before our time. They'll be there after us. So
what is it about it that you love so much? Is it the social element? Because obviously we've got a friend in the group as well, Greg, who's really taken to it.
I mean, the social side of it's pretty interesting, actually. From being someone who constantly leaves, I have deep-rooted friends all over the world. It's great. But other than like being in your band, because I come home and I work with the band, it's all based around, you know, drinking and having a good time, you know, and I love that. But it's also, you know, it's nice to have, it's nice to keep yourself fit and healthy, and the communal side's, you know, quite fun. Most of my friends are rock and rollers, you know, they wouldn't say we all think the same way, but we all sort of tend to think a certain way, you know, in the booze and let's just say the rock and roll world. So it's been nice to kind of like try, you know, do something that's not based around music, really. So climbing's been wicked, and I can't take a surfboard on tour with me. I can't take a snowboard on tour with me. You can't take any like sports equipment on tour with you, you know. So but some shoes in the bottom of your bag, and you know, you can kind of go and goof around all day. So that's my main thing I like about it. And when you find yourself in a new city with your climbing shoes, you can pop down and someone will be fly. You know, you'll bump into someone.
Do you get to do that on your downtime, when you sort of days that you get to yourself? Do you get to?
Yeah, I made that. That's sort of mandatory. It's kind of like to the point where even the tour manager or the band, you know, they'll I found this place, or did you know this is here, and they'll kind of like advise spots to go, which is cool. And but yeah, it's good. I make that a thing. It's been a centerpiece of my life after just having some struggle focusing on some things. Since finding that, it's given me a new discipline to stay focused when, you know, as soon as tour's over, everybody tells me where to go, what to do, and where I've got to be and when. And when that's over, you're a bit like, it's easy to get lost at that point. You know, you can be like, well, I can do fucking anything, so I will do anything. And it's nice to have structure when doing that. So, and climbing gives me that structure. Because I mean, on tour, on your days off, you're either going to train or you're going to get drunk. And it's better to stay sober on tour and focus, because you know you can get lost down that rabbit hole, as I'm sure you can imagine.
And I'm sure, like you're saying as well, when you've all got the same focus and the same, it almost feels like this connected force that is looking to take rivals to the highest that you all want it to be. So yeah, it feels like it's a good match.
Yeah, my boss Scott, he's sober as well. When I met, you know, he was having a bit of a good time, and we were both having a bit of a good time. And sometimes we'd have a lot of a good time. Festival season's one way you can get, you know, gets totally loose around festival season. You never know what you're going to get. You know, maybe you'll fly in somewhere or you'll play earlier. It's just like that. You might find that there's great opportunities to overindulge in a foreign country with, you know, some fun people. So it's good to see my boss sober up, and I mean, the guy didn't have a problem or anything. He just decided to straighten up and jump off the booze, and that's been like really it's been really important to kind of mine and his game that we're on, you know, the A game. It's like signing for a big football team, and I wouldn't want to turn up drunk, you know. Like when you're trying to win the league or whatever, and or you're trying to really achieve something, it's best to be like firing on, you know, all cylinders go, and it's a hard job as well. So attention span is key, man. So having those days of being hungover in the venue, I'm not saying they don't happen, but having those days of repetitively being drunk or hungover when you arrive to a gig is just something you do in your 20s, I guess. I'm in my 30s now. Maybe I'm trying to grow up.
You'll just leave it for ages, and then there'll be some new heads coming through, and you'll be like, "Oh, don't worry, I've still got it." Show them up a couple of days, and then get back on it, get back to the climbing side of it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, I've been really fortunate, like, to have people come and have a look at how it's done. I know a couple of younger people. A guy called Connor's pretty nice. He comes out and has a look at the rig and how we do things at shows. He's just a big guitar fan, a good dude. He's studying at college. I've done that with a few bands. And Slam Dunk Festival, those guys have a really good connection with the local university. So it's not uncommon that I've had someone to kind of shadow and see how it works with me. And I always tell those people, I'm like, if you can do your job drunk really fucking well, you can definitely do it even better sober. So go and get shit-faced. And, you know, if you can do it in that condition, then you can do it, you know, for the rest of your life in better condition. That's kind of how I see it, you know.
The final one from me is, do you feel like in this time, because you've got such a specialist skill, could you see yourself setting up like tutorials or workshops like through Zoom or anything like that? Because, you know, going back to the start of the convo,
yeah,
we're not really knowing how people are going to be earning and stuff. So do you think like there's something there, like there's an asset that you've got that people would be up for like signing on and getting your expertise?
Well, I think there's a market for anything if you brand it right. You know, someone will buy into that. But that's not my style. I'll say that's totally not my style. The best way you can do it is get really stuck in. You know, the nightlife scene is the hub of everything, as you know, downtown, man. You know, the information and the knowledge that we know downtown is just, it's next to none on what's really going on out there. So, and the music industry is all downtown. So get stuck in and you know.
That's how you met the contacts as well.
Always down the bar. Yeah, it's just where you. I mean, it's not. There's no secret there. That's where you shoot the shit. You know, you get stuff done, and so I think I'm gonna take my boss, who we've been rambling on about for a while, he had a question from like the similar thing we were doing. He was doing like a live thing with the guys who build the amplifiers and the cabinets we use. And one of the last questions they asked him was, would you do any tutorials, lessons? And he said it damn straight. He was like, hell no, like, you know, go learn to play guitar, go make mistakes, go get it wrong, go buy the wrong guitars, you know, do all the mistakes, and that's the only way to learn. You'll have a better journey doing it that way than just, you know, signing up for the tutorial, you know.
There's a that Todd the Morpho says, show me how to set up my guitar, Ben.
Well, hey Mofo, whenever we get to go back to work, I will do just that. But we don't know when we're going back. Oh, here's one for Mofo. Oh, it's 4:20 today, isn't it? I'll introduce you to my friend Mofo here. He's in my putt right now. That's the Mofo. He's a mighty keyboard player and a stand-up dude. Good person. He tours with us with Rival Sons. Killer player. Good person.
Amazing. I'm glad that it's going so well for you, and that you've got you with a crew that respects you, and you know you've got your input going in, and you're all now striving for the same thing to make the band.
Yeah, it feels good. Yeah, feels good. Yeah.
Always love for you, Mr. Bowers. Respect to your parents as well for watching. Whoa.
Well, there's not much else to do right now, is there?
But now you take it easy, stay safe, mate, and I'll see you on the other side. We'll definitely be in the beer garden.
Yeah, we'll catch up, man. We'll see you soon.
Take care, brother. Bye.
Bye.
There you are, everyone. The legend that is Ben Bowers. What I wanted to speak to him about is that his life, you know, he's always on the road. He's always in a different country. And I just wanted to get a bit, no worries, Todd the Morpho, and shout out to Bowers' parents as well. And Greg, shout out, all the love coming through in comments. But no, I just wanted to find out a bit more. And, you know, when you're mates with somebody and you banter flies off all the time, you generally just talk about other things. So it was good to actually get a bit more of an in-depth look into his life, his travels, obviously his experiences and the stories that he's got to share. So amazing. Thank you all for joining me on Loose Lips. My previous chats, you can find them on my lives. So I spoke with Danny DeVille, who is a director and also a photographer. I spoke with Dan, who is the drummer of Liam Gallagher. Go check that out. And then the chat before Ben was with Ralph Lawson, who is the head onshore of 2020 Recordings and also Inner City Electronic. Thank you, Sam Huddleston, for your comment there. And yeah, likewise, I'm Ben Random. I'm doing Loose Lips because it's here to uplift the spirits of the people during this time. We will get through this together and as one and be stronger on the other side. Shout out to Barry Bowers. Thank you. You stay safe as well, brother. And obviously Bowers' mum as well. And yeah, Anthony Bisaglia, respect, man. Thank you for checking it out. And yeah, I'll be back Wednesday with more guests. Do keep it locked if you like what it's about. Add me on Instagram and then just see when the next chats are following through. Stacey Lloyd, you need to reply to your message because I do want you on as a guest as well, but we'll conclude that in our own messages. And shout out to Sam as well, you know that. Peace and light to you and yours. Stay cool, stay blessed, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Peace.